ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a great drawing, but I got bad news and I got good news. The bad news is my camera ran out of juice before I was finished. So you're not going to get the whole drawing process. The good news is at the end you'll get what I ended up with. So I started with my light bulb, as I always do, a circle for the top part of the torso, then extended down to the bottom part of the torso. But I started this pretty quickly. So some that I learned from J. Scott Campbell. So during the top part of the circle, the top part of the torso, rather, I divide in three, and that is the area where the breasts go on a woman, because this is a woman. And I learned that from J. Scott Campbell. Now I'm drawing the head. As you can see, I've already put on the arms, just basic shape, just circles and cylinders or circular cylinders. Placing everything. And after I get the light bulb, the torso area, everything else, the appendages just kind of come in after that. In the shoulders right there. I'm using the basic shapes as a way of knowing where I'm going. Forearms, got the 1, 2, 3 on one side and got the 1, 2 on the other side. Rib cage right there. Hips, kind of got a little mathematic thing that I go through. I basically draw my legs, my anatomy for a woman, especially the legs part, come from just observation. Got one leg down. Okay. Thighs foreshortened. Just basic shapes. Calf area. Got the 1, 2, 3 on one side and the 1, 2 on the other. That's a basic shape. And also, I think of those basic shapes as providing a great silhouette. I talk about that in these drawings. At the end of the day, you want the silhouette to be great. That way people are a little more forgiving, and the eye is a little more forgiving if the details in between or on the shape are not exactly right. If the silhouette translates pretty good, then it allows you to get away with some stuff. So now I'm lightly erasing so that I can trace the lines that I've left with it and make sure that I get the lines where I want them. Make sure things are lined up. Make any alterations I need to make. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Not drawing any lines that I don't want to draw. The calf right there. I want to thicken that calf out as I'm looking at the proportions. Even though it's going back in space. Got the knee area. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. Got the foot going back in space. One, two, three, 1, 2. Okay, getting the hand down, getting the fingers where I want them. I'm also thinking about the size of the hand. Collarbone. Tighten up that arm. Erase it lightly. 1. Oh, okay. I said I'm going to make sure my hand is positioned in the right place. So the sword of this Wonder Woman doesn't go off the page. I don't want it to go off the page. I need to actually work on that. I'm so accustomed to having things stay within the page. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. That's where that comes from. Okay. Got the hand big because it's coming forward. Growing in size. I always make sure you got the shoulder, got the bicep, and then you have the forearm. And those get bigger as they come forward and smaller as they go back to add to the illusion of depth. Now I'm drawing the head. A lot of heads in comic books are straight on, which to me is probably difficult. I always try to give it a slight turn, actually. I personally don't want it to be straight on all the time. But what I found is a lot of faces drawn in comic books are just straight on. Drop that chin a little bit since the mouth is open. She's mad. Wonder Woman is mad. The absolute Wonder Woman. So what I do is I draw the figure, and then after drawing the figure, whether it's male or female, I dress the figure. So I'm looking at the pose saying, okay, is this working? I think I like that. Got the opposites going on. One arm back, one arm forward, the opposite leg forward, and the opposite leg back. Now creating what is sort of an iconic look for Wonder Woman. Trying to make sure everything is where I want it to be. I'm looking, thinking. Just making sure I shade everything where I want it to shade from what point to what point. Maybe I need to bring those up. Got my reference to the side. So I'm looking at the new suit, or the absolute suit, for Wonder Woman. So got her bra on, or top piece of her costume. Gonna make sure it's all in the right place. Okay, making sure that follows the center line, even though I didn't draw a center line. But I'm really liking how the form is taking shape. Looks pretty good. Making sure I get that up down look to make a W on the chest. And you know what? I probably should have put a center line, but I'm just gonna eyeball these, make sure they're in the center. These W's right here. Maybe these are subliminal W's. Round those off. What this also does is help with the three-dimensionality of this form. Now this belt right here, let's see. Again, that pushes that torso, the top part of the torso forward. I'm looking to see these details, these side armor pieces of this particular costume. All right, got this knee plate right here. So it looks like a shell or something. And how does this boot go? So I'm looking over to the side at my reference. Making sure I add more detail. Once again, I start with the basic shape, a basic triangle, basic square or so, and then I add the details. Kind of square right here, and then add the details to that knee plate. And I'm leaning it forward because it's going back in space. Oh, there's another W. And the curve helps with the illusion. All right, got that down pat right there. Thicken that up a little bit. Got armor. Now seeing how the foot part of this is. Bam. Great lunge forward. Got sort of like bandages or leather straps on the arm. At some point, I'm gonna have to give this young lady some hair, but not now. Okay. I'm changing something up. Let's see what I'm changing up. Okay, I'm making sure this sword is gonna work. And I'm changing fingers on there. So although the hand is tilted a certain way, I'm altering it to make it fit the handle. The weight of the sword is pushing down into the thumb. Especially since I didn't tilt the fist or the hand a whole lot. I have to make it believable. As believable as I can make it for a comic book. All right, long handle. But it doesn't matter. She's a strong woman. She can handle a big sword. She's the absolute Wonder Woman. All right, now kind of see how I'm gonna do the hair. Get my curls. I've established where it's parted. So I got the sword going one way, the hair going the opposite way. Trying to give it some visual interest. That's why I do that. Now I am establishing the light source. I've decided that the light is coming from the other side. Well, I guess it's always the other side. But now with that established, I can shade everything accordingly. Torso of the body is in the way of that arm, so the shadow is falling through that. Get the glitter, not the glitter, but get the shine, the sheen on the metal. The abdominals, where it would be shaded. I'm looking at this part of the costume, kind of hangs from the back. A lot of times when you do these costumes, you wonder where this stuff comes from, or how can you interpret it, or at least I do. Got a mountain in the background. And I'm thinking, what am I thinking about? Having something kind of go down the opposite direction, making sort of an X. Again, I'm thinking of visual interest. How can I make this drawing interesting? And I'm thinking some more. But I'm looking at the pose. It's decent pose. It's a strap right there to hold down that armor. And it's the texture and design of those, I guess you can call them pants. Put those in. Yeah, I really kind of got straight into it. Everything is there. I just need to tighten it up. Need to finish doing my shadows though. I don't know why I stopped doing my shadows. What you doing, man? Maybe I was looking. Okay. So the belt has a point in the center. Got texture of the pants. Yeah, I think I'm looking at the costume. I say, oh, this shoulder has something on it. And this wrist has something on it. Make sure I put that on there. So now I'm back to shading. Looking at the light source, saying, okay, all of this will be shaded. And I'm shading it, like, okay, this is three-dimensional. And it's one big old lump of curly Q. I'm not thinking about it as individual strands. One big old shape. Got the muscle in there. What am I gonna do with that muscle? She is muscular. That might be a little too muscular for a woman. Unless she's She-Hulk. Alright, but I'm looking at it and I'm thinking about it. Let's get this blade right. Bam! Gotta do the sound effects. Put in the extra details. I'm looking at all the details of the sword, of this big old sword. Now it's time for the shading in the mountain. I'm just randomly putting down some shapes. When I started doing background, I really discovered, man, this is what you really need to do. It really brings out your picture. You could have a great figure, but if you don't have a background, it just doesn't always seem to be what you want. So now I'm gonna take my time and outline this thing. I've gotten everything down that I need to proceed. I'm doing now is tracing my pencils, but I'm still altering things as I need to, even at this stage. In my career, if you call it that, in my amateur career, well, I've worked for a few companies, but in my career, I've only had a few inkers. But in terms of tight pencils, I hadn't really done a lot of tight pencils. It's about as tight as I need to be for me. So I'm just tracing everything. Putting that wristband on there, making it bigger than the arm. Putting in extra details like fingernail. Now I'm putting in the joints, the knuckles. Getting the twist in the hand. I like that hand. Can't go wrong with a fist. Heroes love fist. I'm moving. As you can see, I moved that line based on where the center of the hand is. I said, center of that forearm is going to be in a different place. All of these adjustments happening. And it's so peculiar as to what you draw next, what you trace next. I always used to wonder and have been asked, why do you draw this now? Why do you draw that? Or when are you going to finish that? Well, I don't know if it's one answer to that. Wherever the mind goes, in the metal sole on this boot, or maybe it's a leather sole. I don't know. That's a superhero. It's a comic book. You just never know. At the hip, at the thigh, and that's when my camera stopped. But I kept going, and this is what I ended up with.
Leron McAdoo found joy in drawing superheroes, but he was an illiterate third grader. So suddenly his mother said she would not buy another comic book until he could read them. McAdoo rose above being afraid of words to getting paid for words. Now he uses words to get people Mctivated about their own superpower. He drew strength from drawing. This is Comicbook Bold. To see his comic commissions and comic art, go to Pinterest.com at that hip hop and select Leron McAdoo art.